Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Not Content Podcast. This is another YouTube exclusive, so please make sure to like and subscribe. If you have not done so, click the bell icon for notifications because we have had a very, very busy last month or so. We are going to have a very, very big August as well. We have been discussing the second season of X-Men 97. The final episode of that discussion will be forthcoming after the season ends on August the 12th. But we are in week 2 of 5 of our discussion of Batman Caped Crusader. And of course, I am joined on the line, as always, by my good colleague, Brian. And Brian, all I can say is, how about that Matches Malone? What a guy, huh?
Okay, so I did not expect that because I don't think any of the cartoons done that. I don't think so. I know some of the movies have, I think,
I
but
don't know
it's
that he's
very
ever
much
gone
like
to
a
prison. He is
well, yeah,
definitely. If you remember, he cosplayed as a homeless person the one time.
right.
One of the
That's
more
kind of what I'm
infamous
thinking of.
episodes.
But he didn't really beat anyone up. He was more so like
Correct.
ground level. But he went full. I want to say Ricardo Tubbs because we just watched Miami Vice and they did an episode like that where Tubbs goes undercover in a prison. But like Jerome was telling me before we recorded, like that's a big trope in cop shows.
Uh-huh.
And they did it in season 2. They didn't wait for season 3 because I guess season 3 is kind of up in the air. So I'm glad they did it now because it's
Yeah.
refreshing. It's unique. It's something we don't normally see Bruce Wayne in that kind of situation. So I'm all for that trope. And of course, you think of Face Off, right? And God knows how many other movies as well. You know what I mean? And just that dynamic of like prison and protection and protecting the other guy. And you know what I mean? Like having favors outside when you get out of prison, that kind of thing. You make sure you give me a job when we get out and that kind of thing. And right. And
I
Bruce
mean,
is
but the
protecting
whole
this guy pretty
the thing that
much.
I really like is that the whole gimmick of this episode is we're not seeing any of Batman really, and that's I think that's been different. Like it feels like we haven't really gotten a lot of Bruce Wayne in this run in this Batman this particular animated series. So you're really not even getting Bruce, you're getting Matches Malone, but the whole gimmick is that he gets himself into prison because he is trying to learn about the Riddler, Edward Nigma, and the beginning of this episode addresses one of your issues, right?
Okay, so they went with the literal phrasing of the word that I don't know. It's kind of I don't want to say ancient, but the phrase riddled with something like riddled with bullets, riddled with holes. That's the Riddler. He's just a guy that likes to shoot motherfuckers with holes all over the place, and not just motherfuckers, also tables, ladders, chairs, any part of the scenery. He just shoots it up whenever he's mad. It's a funny visual because whenever he loses his cool, he's like shooting up the whole place. So that's going to be like the recurring thing with this Riddler. So I'm looking forward to him just shooting up random like places. There was a scene in this one. I don't think it was a restaurant, but it was like a nice like hotel with his lover. And as soon as he got the bad news, he just busted out of the Tommy gun and just shooting the whole place up. And I was just laughing my ass off. I was just like, this dude has no chill. And of course, by no chill, like literally like killing off his henchman that he was loyal to, or the henchman that was loyal to him for so long, apparently, because he thought he was a fucking narc or whatever. Not narc, but like you know what I mean, like a snitch. And he wasn't. It was just Batman going undercover and screwing things up for him, essentially. So, you know what I mean? He's got this guy paranoid. This Riddler is paranoid, kind of like a macho man, Randy Savage type that doesn't trust anybody, that's kind of like sort of abusive to his women. You can look
Sort of
that up.
abusive. I mean,
Okay. I'm not going to mention the Gorgeous George stuff about her sister. Wink, wink. Look that up. But
Jesus,
you know the story. But
I
you
do.
know what I mean?
Yes.
Like he's very much that type. So I get this version. He's not the Riddler, like the guy that tells riddles and tries to come up with really like witty stuff and all these little things with the riddles and how it ties together with the crime. Like that's out the window.
Well, you know who
But
he. I mean, we know who he is meant to. I think be an homage to. He is meant to be an homage to the Frank Gorshin version of the character, not as
right,
humorous,
and
but
the Frank Gorshin version is an ode to James Cagney, which I think I brought up to you, and I both of us probably didn't realize this at all, and we're big Batman '66 fans. But I guess because James Cagney's kind of way before our time, and we haven't really seen much of his work. But that's essentially what Frank Gorshin was going for, like a more, James Cagney, like, come and give me coppers, come on, that kind of like old school mob.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's where that comes from, and now that's where the Frank Gorshin inspiration leads to this
yep.
You know what I mean? It's like a generational inspirational thing. So it fits the
Right,
time
because James
period.
Cagney did a lot of gangster movies for Warner
And
Brothers.
he's
Obviously,
notorious for the short temperedness in all those roles, right? Like he's always like pissed off. He's short. The Napoleon complex, right? Like our
yeah.
modern
I
day,
mean, we see it at the end of this episode. I mean,
yeah.
Matches Malone bonds with this prisoner, and it's. I mean, it's not. I don't want to say touching, but like it
Shawshankish.
definitely.
It's Shawshankish for sure.
It's definitely something that is intended to create a deeper relationship, right? Like they're going for something that is beyond kind of this surface level examination of relationships.
I mean, once you're protecting
Matches,
someone in prison, it's like there's a bond for life. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a
right?
real thing that is even today. Like, you know what I mean? Like that extends to when you get out of prison and you owe someone in prison. That usually leads to that. What's that term? Recidivism. Where you probably
Recidivism, yeah,
you're probably going back to jail because of the connections you made in jail, kind of thing.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
sometimes
that's kind of what this is. Yeah.
you form better community when you're in prison as opposed to not being
A
in prison.
society that rejects you anyway. So you might as well find your home in prison, kind of thing. That's kind
Yep.
of what the psychology is, unfortunately. So that's kind of what happens with this guy. And then Matches Malone breaks him out. And the way he breaks him out, I got to admit, was kind of weird. Uh, you want to explain what he did? Because, like, the logic is out the window.
Well, which part are you referring to?
When he breaks his bed down.
I
Come
mean,
on, man.
it is what it is. Like what I think strikes me most about this episode is just how vicious the Riddler is. Like typically the Riddler is, I mean, he's not good, but he's not like as hardcore. But I mean, again, this has been a much more violent season than the first season, right? And what you
I
get,
mean,
I
look
mean,
at
you
the
get
way he kills the snitch, or the not official snitch, but the way he killed him is like
yeah,
they go off
it's
screen
vicious, it's
and you see
brutal.
the shadow of like him being riddled with bullets, wink, wink, and just like falling down. But the crazy thing is, I love the ending of this episode because this guy's able to figure out that Matches Malone is Batman, and it's like hardly anyone ever figures out who Batman is in any of
I
these
mean,
like iterations.
I would say it's kind of a trope that the person who's dying identifies as
Figures it
Superman.
out, but like it's so good because it's that moment where Batman's like, "You're dying, so I really don't have to, like do anything, knowing the fact that you know," kind of thing. It's like,
I mean, I
okay,
think the best
but
version
it's
of this.
great.
I mean, the best version is the Spider-Man animated series, the kid with cancer or whatever.
Oh my god, oh god,
That's
that was a
brutal.
downer,
That
huh?
was a real that like that was. I did not remember that. So yeah, it was pretty brutal. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
really like this episode a lot. I think it's definitely a lot different than you get because again, there is a little bit of Batman, but there really isn't that much, and that's what I appreciate about it is that it is so focused on this prison storyline, and you really get something.
There's one little subtle detail that I want to point out. So, when Riddler shoots Matches Malone and Matches Malone pretends to be dead, like I guess he moved so fast that he avoided the bullet going into any major artery or even his chest, like it grazed his arm, and somehow he still sold as if he died. Like I thought that was such a Batman move to
Unless he
do.
was wearing a bulletproof vest. I
I
mean, that's
doubt
kind of
it.
what
I
I thought.
doubt it, dude. Like in prison, no way. Like you know what I mean? Like that was an awesome, like subtle, like motion that Batman would totally do. Like that's something Superman can do because of his ability, because of his like superhuman powers. But that's a human doing that. You know what I'm saying? It kind of means more, I think.
I could see that. All right, let's talk about episode 4, which is probably my least favorite of the four up to this point. I think the fundamental problem is I think the idea of a cult is an interesting one, but it's really hard to get across like the cult's purpose and everything in one episode. And I wasn't like I like the payoff. I like the ending. And again, this episode might be even more violent than any of the other three, because we have a clearly broken neck, and we have somebody get stabbed and fall on the knife. So again, a lot of violence in this episode as well. But basically, the idea is that this cult worships Batman, and we get a lot of interactions with Hattie, not quite the Mad Hatter, but Hattie, who is voiced by Lorraine Newman. I don't know if I necessarily mentioned that last time, but It is great to hear Lorraine Newman's voice. She does a great job. She is going to have Commissioner Gordon on her show, but unfortunately, that does not happen because the cult captures them both, and they're going to sacrifice their blood and get whomever to rise from the dead. And again, I think that this episode is very messy. I kind of like where it pays off and where it ends, but not as much of a fan of this.
I thought it was just crazy because like you would never see this in the original animated series, like anything like this. Um, so I guess the
I
idea is
mean,
that there is a
for me, like this is a Ra's al Ghul episode, except there's no
right. I
Ra's
thought it was Raz at the end, but it wasn't, right? Like it was someone else, right? Like it was some con artist, not officially Raz, right? It's not like
I
that's the
can't
Raz of this
imagine. I
universe.
cannot imagine this version of Batman's gonna have Ra's al Ghul.
Okay, because that was the closest I felt we're ever gonna get, but they admitted at the end of this episode that it was a farce and it's like all bullshit, and he was just using people, and there's an act. He doesn't believe any
I
fucking
mean, that's
thing
what
will
cults
actually come back.
are. They do use people. I mean,
Right.
the biggest thing is most cults eventually have a sex component, and they didn't really identify as sex
They
component.
didn't get to that part yet. They were probably getting there, but the idea that I guess there is a I forget the name Bat Mordos or Bat Bados or something like that. Like it sounds like Barbados, but it's Bat Bados. But apparently that's like a real folklore legend type thing. So they're kind of playing with that. Um, but they're kind of playing it as if it's a voodoo thing, and I don't necessarily think it's a voodoo thing in general. But um, this idea that Batman came about right around the time he created this cult, this bad guy, so it was like so convenient for him, and then he just based the whole thing around him. So I thought that was hilarious. And because at first it makes you think like, are they worshiping Batman because he started fighting crime? Like, what's going on here? And it's like, no, it's like a separate entity that coincidentally started the same time Batman became a crime fighter. So it just was happenstance. And then he's using these young kids to like commit his crimes and steal stuff and commit murders and do all these like crazy like I don't know Manson-esque type murders, right? Like that's the deal. Until he starts doing it himself, but that's pretty much what it is. And then the sacrifices, and then Batman has to come in and like figure out what the fuck is going on and shit. And then he just saves the day at the end. But it's really like this kind of brutal, like pseudo horror plot, right? I'm trying to think of that Wes Craven movie with Bill Pullman. I forget the name. Serpent in the Rainbow kind of vibes as well. Not
I
necessarily
can see
the
that.
zombie part, but just the whole cult voodoo thing. Yeah. And then of course the blood you mentioned was flowing in this fucking episode. Like
It's
there's
a
a whole
Burma
bat
season,
symbol
my
painted in
friend.
blood. Oh my god, this is way better than I don't want to say it's better than season one already just because of the graphic nature of it all, but they're really like elevating it to like a really an adult show, which I really appreciate because like it's rare we see this with Batman. And then, of course, you mentioned the knife was just epic because, like, one of the followers finds out that he's a false prophet or whatever, stabs him in the back, and instead of him just falling forward, the animators literally had him fall backward. And of course, where else is the dagger gonna go? But in more, right? And it just fucking goes deeper, dude. Like
Right?
that was,
They wanted to
oh
disrupt
man,
the
they
it,
animated that in front of your eyes.
it's really good stuff. Like I was very impressed by the ending of this episode, even though I wasn't totally sold on the cult in general. It just felt like, okay, we are revealing in this episode the cult is there, and then they get broken up right away. It feels like you could have done a little bit of build up. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I was thinking like the opening was going to be like not necessarily connected to the plot, but like a series of openings that are going to lead to a future episode, right? Like just layered in the background, but they just went for it and did a whole episode around it. So I guess we're not
Right.
getting the cult again, which is
I mean,
fine,
maybe
but
not,
that
but so I think I
it
earlier
would have been a
said
good plot to kind of extend like in a movie like these weird cult like murders that Batman's like sort of like the Batman, but like more
perhaps
cult like.
I said there would be no Ra's al Ghul. I do have to say, I'm just it clicked in my head. We did get a couple of supernatural episodes in the first season as well, and I think this episode is falling in line with the ghost episode and the one with the little girl who was like absorbing
Right, I
people
thought the same
stuff.
thing, but then they kind of gave this grounded ending. Like the guy literally says, like, "Oh, it's all bullshit. I'm just in it for the
I
money."
mean, but like I think with a cold, it's much more
But I
natural.
get it. Like it kind of
Like,
fits those vibes as well. But I like the fact that this ending is like grounded in reality, and it's like not leaving those weird question marks we had with the other episodes. But like, that's why I really like this kind of ending because it's very like finite, and the guy's dead, and the cult's over, so you kind of just move on from there. So
Well, I think that's
uh,
kind of what the animated series was about telling these individualized stories about Batman. I think this show is going much more for we're going to tell our individual stories, but we are also going to have kind of an overarching plot that's going on because you have the Riddler and you've had Joker teases in each episode, and you've kind of had him getting built up as well. And he's like the Joker is
yeah,
not going to be
yeah.
funny. Like that's
And
the
what
biggest
I
thing.
read is that, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I guess they made him German, so I think I know what they're going for.
They're
Um,
going for like the original,
the
like
the original
looking
German
yeah, yeah.
expressionist movie that was based on the yeah. I think that's what they're going because
Well,
the
if you
shot at
look at
the end.
if you look at
Go
the
ahead.
original design of the Joker in 1940, it looks very much like this Joker that we're getting in this series.
Right, and then of course that shot of the eyes. I can't help but think of like German expressionism because it wasn't like a level like because the eyes had this like box around them with the shadow. It was tilted like a Dutch tilt, and that told me like, oh, that's like German expressionism. They're going for that old school Joker like from the
I
40s or
mean, they could
20s.
also be referencing the Shadow too. You can't forget that.
That too. That's the era. It's very much the era, but I'm digging the vibes of this one because it's very much methodical, much more psychological, right? I
Yeah, I think this is
As
a much
much as
more
like we like the Joker doing random crazy shit and laughing about it, like you can lean too much into like Jared Leto did and go way too
Well, the
far
other
with
thing
it.
is like we've seen this done so many times. Like if you're going to do this show, why are you doing it? If you're just going to do the same thing that everybody else does, then your existence is pointless. Like the thing that I appreciate is that they're trying to do something that is very different. Even
Right,
if I don't
right,
think it's totally successful, I appreciate the fact that they're trying it. And I'm not making a judgment on the Joker because
right.
we
And
haven't
they did
seen the
the same
Joker.
thing. They're doing the same thing with Mad Hatter because in this episode, you said Lorraine Newman. Shout out to the early days at SNL and all the other comedic accomplishments he had in that era. But um, yeah, she basically is like kind of standing on her own, and she's kind of like she'll wheel side with the cops, but she'll criticize the cops, but like they'll work together when need be. When they were both Gordon and her were like kidnapped or whatever. So I like that kind of like it's not necessarily like shades of like super dark with her. It's very much shades of gray with her. So I like that kind of change because we know the Mad Hatter's usually like doing crazy shit when he was a dude or like the older dude version, right? And he was just getting into like mischief and criminal activity. This is far from that. And this is very much that talk show host persona we were talking about. And it fits the era. And she's kind of got this like voice of the people, sort of like because the people are not always
Yeah,
going to side with Batman. Sometimes they're going to go against Batman if they're told the wrong thing, which is what happened in the cult episode. So they're very much playing it in the right way, I think, with that character.
for sure. I think that we are on a really good run right now, and I'm really excited to continue to talk about this show. We know the Joker is going to play a huge factor in future episodes. We know Harley Quinn is going to be in one of the episodes as well. I don't know which one, but she was in the little teaser that was at the end of episode one, and I think we also have like a Mister Freeze like character to look forward to as well.
Well, my feelings on Mr. Freeze, man. He's kind of like my Doc Ock, where I want that epic baby face turn, and I finally got it in a random homecoming movie. You never know, man, because I think Mr. Freeze is like that tragic
I
villain
don't
that,
think you're going to get it. I think that
but
the character
deserves
looks
like that
very
hero's
different.
welcome. I think because he's doing it for his love of his wife, man, and I always thought that was like romantic, and they made him a villain about it. So that's my always feelings on the Mr. Freeze character. So we'll see.
All right. That is it for us. We will be back next week to talk about episodes 5 and 6. We do have titles for those episodes. I'm going to go look them up very quickly here. Next week, we will be discussing the Spectral Hand as well as Sudden Fear. Sudden Fear leads me to believe that we might be getting a Scarecrow episode. So we'll see if that is indeed the case. For Brian, I'm Jerome. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you again next week for Batman, and then the week after, another Batman in the finale of X-Men 97.